from different faculties to come together to either speak Russian or English, or to make plans for the weekends and the evenings in the city.
Different people means different cultures.
There are lots of things to see here. Never know what to choose. Museums, nightclubs, art exhibitions. Everyone can find everything what he wants.
Moscow is amazing.
I never expect this from Moscow. There are a lot of good people. I love Moscow. I never feel bored.
You have museum, we have park, you have beautiful place where you can go to relax.
I love Financial University.
I love Financial University.
I love Financial University.
I love Financial University.
University.
I love Financial University.
Financial University is really busy, but it's really fun.
Financial University has a really good library.
Dear colleague, I'm greeting you all, and dear Professor Mnogo, it is your turn. Start please our conference. You forget to
Thank you very much, Dr. Lukashenko. I will start our conference today. Good morning, Netherlands. Good morning, Russia. Doberu Utra, Russia. Good afternoon, Vietnam. Xin chào, Vietnam. Dear colleagues, students, ladies and gentlemen. Digital technology over the past decades has had a great impact on our daily lives. This innovative technology has brought a transformation to financial services. It has not only changed the mindset of the entrepreneurs working in the financial industry, but also that of government policy makers. Over the years, Saxion University of Applied Sciences in the Netherlands, the Financial University under the government of the Russian Federation, and the Banking Academy of Vietnam have closely cooperated in the education field. Besides other education and research areas, the three universities have a common interest in the development and sustainability of innovative technology related to the financial sector. The conference series on blockchain and financial applications is a forum for us to share our experiences and research findings in this field. My name is Ngọc Ngo. I'm the manager of strategic partnership of Saxion University of Applied Sciences in the Netherlands. I will chair the conference series with my colleagues, Dr. Inna Lukashenko from the Financial University under the government of the Russian Federation, and Dr. Phạm Hoàng Anh from Banking Academy of Vietnam. On behalf of colleagues from three universities, I would like to announce the beginning of the conference. May I invite Mr. Sander Reidering, Director of School of Finance, Economics and Management at Saxion University of Applied Sciences to give his welcome remarks.
Welcome everybody to this first conference, Blockchain and Financial Applications, a collaboration between Saxion University of Applied Sciences in the Netherlands, Financial University under the government of the Russian Federation from Russia, and the Banking Academy of Ton Duc Tan University in Vietnam. It's an honor to be here to talk about this beautiful initiative to establish further structural cooperation between the three universities. I would like to take a moment to explain Saxion's position as the oldest university in the Netherlands. In the 17th century, there was a school of scientific education in Deventer. The institute could be considered as a forerunner of Saxion, which is originally established in Twente in the year 1864. Saxion University of Applied Sciences is a Dutch university with 3 campuses in the eastern of the Netherlands. It provides more than 100 courses in study fields as archaeology, finance, law, engineering, hospitality, business, IT, broadcasting, health, and digital media. With over 29,000 students, it's one of the largest institutions of higher education in the Netherlands. At Saxion, we mainly do applied research. We study the interaction between people and technology, and we connect to the high-end tech manufacturing industry that we are so good at in the east of the Netherlands. Companies and institutions can come to us with questions or even problems they have, and students and researchers from various programs work together on complex projects. By combining knowledge and practice, they come up with new, surprising solutions. Solutions that make daily life easier or even more pleasant. And not only affordable, but also we are looking very good at sustainability. And not only for today or for now, but certainly for the future. So research, entrepreneurship, devising solutions, that's what we train and coach our students in from day one. And that are skills that are valuable for the rest of their lives. And we have translated the importance of joint research into our research vision 2020-2024 with a focus on key technologies, of which blockchain, for example, is an excellent example on which Saxion will also focus in the coming years. The blockchain chair is the only and unique blockchain chair in the Netherlands. And we underline the importance of interdisciplinary applied research in education. We do that, for example, with our Smart Solutions Festival, Blockchain Week, which is also be done in 2021, the minor business models in blockchain, and the excellence program blockchain for top students. Related to that conference and the topics covered today, we can conclude that organizations are faced with rapid and major changes. So organizations will therefore have to develop rapidly in the field of digitization, and blockchain in particular, in order not to lag behind in social developments. To achieve this, we must be aware that no organization is bigger than the problem, so you can only achieve this by working together. I see collaboration as a great opportunity, and therefore it's an honor that we have organized this conference together with the 3 universities. This first conference is the start of an intensive cooperation, I hope, in the field of knowledge sharing, research, and exchange of students, teachers, and researchers. This is a great step into the future to intensify our friendship, our partnership, and our relationship. Given the number of participants of this conference, I know we will certainly succeed in that. So I wish you much pleasure this afternoon for the participants in Russia and Vietnam, and a nice morning for the Dutch participants. Thank you very much, and see you next time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sander Reitering from Saxion in the Netherlands, for your beautiful welcome remarks. It is my pleasure to invite Mr. Van Le, Vice President of Banking Academy of Vietnam, to give his opening remarks.
Thank you. Dear expert and researcher, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, on behalf of the board of director in Banking Academy, I would like to give a warm welcome and express gratefulness to the delegate, scientists, and economic experts who attend the International Scientific Conference, Blockchain and Financial Application in 2021. To begin with, let me give the best wishes for the health of all delegates and for the great success of this conference. I appreciate that Saxion University of Applied Sciences, Financial University under the government of the Russian Federation and Banking Academy have cooperated to organize the International Scientific Conference, Blockchain and Financial Application, with the participation of a large number of scientists and experts from Vietnam and abroad. The content of this year's conference is considered to be highly academic and scientific, as well as to have practical meaning and application, such as blockchain applied to technology, transforming the digital finance, assessed by blockchain, problem and prospect, and sustainable development in the digital context. The conference held in the current time is especially meaningful in the context of the world economy undergoing more fluctuation and unpredictability than ever. The COVID-19 pandemic has changed the global economy as well as human perception and behavior. Scientific and technological innovation, including a digital financial background, have shown their importance in the epidemic time. The report of HSBC Bank in 2020 shows that monetary trend of the changing consumer behavior in response to the impact of COVID-19 is a transformation of consumption pattern, in which there is a shift from traditional store to e-commerce and from cash transaction to e-wallets and online payments. Besides, the immediate and obvious change in consumer behavior caused by COVID-19, a decline and obvious change in consumer behavior, decline in cash payment, and an increase in online interaction can also be clearly seen. In general, crisis caused by COVID-19 pandemic has motivated many changing changes on the technology platform. Ladies and gentlemen, in the way of Industrial Revolution 4.0, blockchain is seen as key technology for digital transformation and for the construction of a future information technological platform. The ability to share data transparently in real time and to save storage space, as well as high security blockchain, make it one of the most breakthrough technology trends. With wide applicability in many industries, in particular, blockchain is capable of transmitting data without requiring intermediary to confirm the information. With this characteristic, experts believe that blockchain technology will pave the way for potential application chain in many fields, such as banking, retailing, delivery, manufacturing, telecommunication, especially in the financial sector. Consequently, this has increased efficiency and transparency. The Industrial Revolution 4.0 has made the world develop more rapidly and strongly than ever. If not changing and adapting in time, we will be obsolete and related. Therefore, the International Scientific Conference, Blockchain and Financial Application, organized by our three universities, is highly recognized not only because of its academic and scientific significance, but also its time capture of changing trend of technology in particular and world in general. I hope that scientists, economists, and experts in the field of finance, banking, and technology, along with centralized regulator, will exchange and share their view on blockchain technology and how to optimally utilize most of the advantage of this technology to apply to finance sector. I also hope that we will continue to cooperate to organize many more successful seminars in the future. Once again, on behalf of my colleagues in Banking Academy, let me give the best wishes and happiness to all participants and everybody in the Russian Federation and Netherlands and in Vietnam, with the conference to achieve great success. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Van Le from the Banking Academy of Vietnam. May I give a word to my colleagues, Dr. Lukashenko?
Thank you very much. Professor Gogo. And dear colleagues, I am delighted to welcome you once more to our joint conference. Let me introduce our first speaker, Dean of the Faculty of International Economic Relations, Mikhail Yurievich Alexeyev. Before Mikhail Yurievich honored us and became the Dean of the Faculty, he had and continues to receive long and successful experience in the financial sector in various positions, including very high and responsible ones. He is one of the few specialists who has information on the need to introduce peer-to-peer technology into the monetary policy of state and public finance. What he agreed to share today in our plenary session. Please, Mikhail Yurievich, it is your turn.
Okay. First question, do you hear me well?
Yes. Very well.
And you can see me as well, hope. Yes.
Yes, of
so,
course.
dear colleagues, thank you very much. It's a big pleasure and honor for me to be a speaker at this esteemed conference. During next 10 minutes, I would like briefly describe my vision of the situation with development of central bank digital currencies. So technology is developing and together with technology, different forms of money also developing in the modern world. We made quite rapid move from classical currencies, fiat currencies, to different forms of crypto money, cryptocurrencies, or crypto financial instruments, and there's difference between all of them. The major driver is desire for consumers to have higher speed of settlements, to reduce costs of financial transaction, to make them more convenient and more embedded into digital economy that is forming now, to support digital transformation. We clearly see some trends in money circulation. First of all, on one side, we have what is called paradox of cash transactions. On one side, the amount of cash in the world is growing rapidly, average 4% per year, and percentage of cash, volume of cash in comparison with GDP also is growing almost in all countries, maybe with some exception like Sweden. On the other side, cash transactions are dramatically declining during recent years in most of the countries, and this is a clear gap between growing volumes of cash in circulation and the reduction of cash transactions. And cash transactions more and more replaced by different new forms of money. First of all, not only with classical forms of cashless transactions, but with what is called central bank digital currencies. In the left-right chart, you can see number of speeches and publications related to central bank digital currency, and we clearly see the growing trend, with these transactions. Then the mood of speeches is more positive, because during 17, 19, and 19, modality of discussions were more of a negative side of the story, but now optimism started to dramatically to prevail. More than 80%. I see something on the screen. I don't know how it happens, but this is not related to the presentations. Sorry for this effect. More than 80% of central banks of the world are paying attention to this situation and making different forms of research, reports, and studies on digital currencies. More than this, a big number of central banks in the world started different projects trying to test or implement digital currencies. And by July of 2020, minimum 36 central banks published their reports on digital currencies. And China, Russia, United States, some countries of Europe are among the leaders. According to a survey made by Central Banking Research, in 2020, 65%, so 2/3 of central banks are making different forms of studies on digital currencies. But the reasons of interest to these questions differs from emerging countries and developed economies. While in developed economies, there's a desire more to ensure support of existing systems with new forms of money. In some developing economies, this could be a real breakthrough that could leave a new quality of financial systems and just fill the gap, cut the corner, move more rapidly to more modern financial systems. There's a huge number of crossroads in the process of developing central bank digital currency. In this chart, we have, it's in Russian, but it shows in different countries a big number of choices that could be made by central banks in the process of constructing their own digital currencies. And there's no single standard, there's no single approach. This is a testing of different platforms and ideas. And at the end of the day, no one knows which solution will be considered as the best and the most efficient. So we can say that there's a competition of different ideas and approaches. This is a classical pyramid, how consumer needs could be supported by development of central bank digital currencies with a different choice. Of course, on the top of this pyramid, the need to ensure wholesale or retail transactions in different worlds and societies. I think you should well know this classical chart that shows the place of central bank digital currencies among different types of currencies. In fact, we just trying to find the mix between IT, information technology, economic theory, and social scientists, because you need to be to attract experts in all these three major areas in order to construct digital currencies. In this chart, we clearly see the ranking of different countries on the level of penetration of financial modern fintech services. And Russia enjoys third place after China and India, above Great Britain in a level of penetration of fintech services. This is percentage of fintech services in used by population and percentage of overall number of population. So we clearly see potential in this industry. In Russia, we clearly see classical shift to to non-cash transactions. So if in 2016 majority of transactions, 2/3 were made in cash. In 2020, so just in 4 years, only 30% were made in cash, and the other was made by cashless financial instruments. This chart shows how year by year number of cash transactions in economy was shrinking. Central Bank of Russia in October of last year published a report about digital ruble, report for public discussions. And these discussions took place during 2020. In the beginning of April, Central Bank published results of these discussions. So major points of research made by Central Bank of Russia that together with cash and cashless payments, digital ruble will be a third form of money. So it will include benefits of cash money and cashless form of money. Major drivers for these transactions was desire to support innovation, to desire to increase efficiency of payment system, and to make financial services more available for a bigger amount of people. There will be different stages in the process of implementation of digital ruble. First stage was publication of this report for consultations, and second stage consultations, then brainstorming and developing a concept of digital ruble, and concept was approved and developed in April of this year. We moved to a fourth stage, development of a platform, and while prototype of digital currency will be developed, there will be decision-making process when and how it should be introduced. After first phase of implementation, we'll make analysis of results, and then we'll make final testing before this currency will be introduced. Central Bank of Russia in its report formulated 22 questions needed to be discussed and answered, and our society had a quite comprehensive discussion on this topics. One of the questions was related to choose of the model, how this digital ruble should be implemented in banking system, because we estimated 4 different models, A, B, C, and D, and at the end of the discussion, we decided to move to the model D, which will use commercial banks as one of the intermediates who will be a part of this story with digital ruble. Here I would like to quote ancient philosopher Socrates, who said, the more I know, the less I know, and this is really true. So the more we study digital currencies, the more we know, the more we understand that the area of unknown is expanding. So digital currencies is really new phenomenon that needs to be seriously discussed in professional, academic, scientific community, and I think we just only at the beginning of our road to this very interesting story. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mikhail Yurievich. We are grateful for your presentation and for your participation in our conference. The second key speaker representing the Financial University is the head of Alumni Association of our university, advisor to the rector of our university, Valery Yurievich Barabanov. He is successful financier and practitioner who has in his arsenal leading positions in the banking sector of Russia. He is equally successful teacher who skillfully combines classical I just say time-tested teaching method with innovative methods of simulation training. And I'm happy to give him the floor. Please, Valery.
Thank you very much. I'm a president of Association of Postgraduate Alumni Association of Financial Institute, and on behalf of the Alumni Association of the Financial University, I say thanks to the organizers and the participants of this conference, and wish success in your work. And I'd like some words about my scientific interests. It's the problem of de-dollarization. Despite the things that the dollar has had a multi-directional impact on the economic space throughout history, the main trends and the development of de-dollarization are now clearly visible. The question of the role of the United States currency is still open and discussed from various points of view in international congresses. But even before the start of the 2020 pandemic, the real sites for the beginning of the financial crisis were visible, but they were hidden under the prism of the consequence of COVID-19. Among the things, special attention was paid to the large imbalance in world trade. Consider the individual risk that the global economy is exposed to in 2021. The first risk is the risk of the United States default. United States government bonds have been attractive to investors until recently. The United States, thanks to the dollar's status as the world's reserve currency, could increase the money supply as need to meet its debt obligation to continuous and prevent a liquidity crisis. So the Fed for 2020 printed more than 8 trillion dollars to save the national economy. The growth rate of the United States national debt dramatically exceeds the growth rate of the country's GDP. According to the Congressional Budget Office, the national debt will increase to 98% of GDP in first year 2021 and jump to 195% of GDP by 2050. Note that at the end of 2090, it was 79% of GDP, and in 27, 35% of GDP. Over the past year, investor countries increased their investment in USA treasuries by $191.9 billion. As a result, the United States external debt on debt securities by January 1, 2021 increased to $7.36 trillion. At the same time, the most United States government bonds fell on the land of the rising sun. The amount is $1,256.8 billion. This situation makes the economies of creditors' countries dependent on the influence of the United States, and in the event of default, they will be the first to suffer. But the rest of the countries will not be invulnerable, and China, Japan, Hong Kong, and the United Kingdom are the largest exports. As a result, the world will experience sharp inflation, which will lead to the undermining of the relationship between the producer and consumer. The second risk is the risk of devaluation of the dollar. Currently, there is a noticeable trend of de-dollarization of national economics, which directly leads to the devaluation of the United States currency. On the other hand, the devaluation is not only due to the understanding of the government of different countries of the need to move away from the dollar, but also to the benefit to the United States itself. The decline in the dollars in the short term will have a positive impact on the United States economy. To date, there are several ways to implement the policy of de-dollarization, including, at the first, regionalization of the economy leading to multipolarity. At the second, expansion of stable currency zones in international settlements. At the third, created a digital equivalent, and at the fourth, the creation of a real equivalent of a commodity equivalent. Now, at the first, regionalization of the economy, leading of multipolarity. At the moment, this trend is considered by economists as the most promising. It's characterized by a change in the geopolitical map of the world and rise of new countries, accompanied by a decline in the power of the current manager at the international monetary system. Alternatively, one of the economic and political policies can be the BRICS Union, which includes Russia, Brazil, China, India, and South Africa. BRICS, a quarter of the entire planet, more than 40% of the population, and is a union that can reflect global challenges, an example of civilization cooperation, united to active joint scientific developments, innovation, progress, and above all, to ensure security. The second, expansion of stable currency zone in international settlements. The trend of forming new currency zones may be realized in the coming years. Now, in many countries, there is an active digitalization of national currencies, which will certainly lead to increase in their share in international settlements. Moreover, the digital currency reduced the impact of sanctions and other threats at the national level. Thus, there is a strengthening of the currency exchange rate, accompanied by an increase in confidence in it, and as a result, an increase in its zone. The formation of new currency new currency zones will reduce the impact of the United States of the global economy. And the third, the real product in fact in our days. The main question that arises when new global universal equivalent in what can serve and as a basic for it. One option is to return to the gold standard. In fact, this is a gold solution and probably the easiest to implement. Only the fact is that there is very little gold. The world's gold reserve will not be enough to issue a currency, and as a result, the collapse of gold standard will occur again. It becomes clear that the trend of the gold standard is not promising. And the first problem of de-dollarization, new commodity. It's become maybe water, it's maybe agricultural things and others commodities in our days. And if these commodities will be main, Russia will be a champion in that problem. And the last problem, this problem of create a digital equivalent. I'm sure that the digital equivalent is more popular now. One of problems of de-dollarization, and Mikhail Yurich said about this problem, and I agree that our future for electronics, rubles and electronics as a value. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Valery Yuryevich. And I dare say that I get myself thinking that listening to our speakers from Vietnam, Netherlands, and my country, I sometimes forget about my role as a speaker, as a moderator. So I give the floor to my Dutch colleague once more. Please, it's your turn now.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lukashenko. And I would like to thank two presenters from Financial University, Moscow, for their very interesting and inspiring speech and presentation. They have just showed us not only their view as the Dean of the International Economics Relation at Faculty of Financial University and as the advisor of the president of the university, but they also show us their view from the vice president of the Central Bank of Russia and also the head of the alumni of association who have a lot of experience in this field. And our next keynote speaker from the Netherlands is Professor Dr. Jan Vogel. He will share with us his perspective on blockchain and its impact on financial services. Professor Dr. Jan Vogel has been appointed as professor in blockchain at Saxion University of Life Sciences in the Netherlands since 2019. Professor Jan Vogel is the one who founded the blockchain research group at our university. Thanks to his leadership, the Saxion blockchain group today has more than 13 researchers in different fields, different areas, and this research group is still growing rapidly. The Saxion blockchain research group is the only research group in this field in the Netherlands. Before joining Saxion University of Life Sciences, Professor Jan Vogel was professor of real estate at Institute of Business of Hanze University in the Netherlands from 2012 to 2019. Professor Jan Woge graduated from the University of Erasmus in Rotterdam. It is one of the Europe's leading business school for education and research. Next to being the professor at Saxion University, Dr. and Professor Jan Woge is the chairman and member of various academic committees and research councils. Dr. and Professor Jan Woge is also the moderator of our conference. May I introduce Professor Jan Woge for his presentation as keynote speaker today?
Yes, thank you very much, Nok. I will share my presentation. Just a minute. You can see the first slide?
Yes.
Yes, then it's going very well. This is the keynote about decentralized finance will change understanding of financial systems. As mentioned before, my name is Jan Veuger, and we are working with my colleagues of the research group Blockchain on 6 schools: Schools of Finance and Accounting, School of Creative Technology, School of Governance, Law and Urban Development, Hospitality Business School, School of Commerce and Entrepreneurship, and the School of People and Society. With the advent of blockchain, it is possible for peers to provide financial services to each other. This includes familiar applications such as payment with an investment in cryptos, but also the lending and borrowing of cryptos and other assets from one another. Decentralized finance, also mentioned as DeFi, has taken off in the past few years as a number of service-providing blockchain platforms have matured. The expectation is that the financial and economic applications surrounding DeFi will cause a major disruption in the same way that cryptocurrency caused this and are now generally accepted in society. DeFi is one of the four lines of research, the Saxion Research Group Blockchain, and it is therefore also on the research and education agenda as a part of the redevelopment of the 3 programs: Finance and Tax, Finance and Advisory, and Finance and Control, within the program Finance, Economics and Management. DeFi in the ecosystems of financial application being built with blockchain technology and without banks. Each financial system is locked within its own geographical borders. It's also a system built on top of ancient technology. All the money transmitting protocols are missing in systems invented in the 70s. And the way it's doing so, it's replacing those outdated rails within the public blockchains, which are global, distributed and decentralized networks specifically made to transfer value without the needs of intermediaries. 4 characteristics can be identified for DeFi by Russo. It's non-custodial, it's open, it's transparent, and is decentralized. Russo stated that the most DeFi applications do not fulfill at all the before mentioned characteristics. The decentralized aspect of DeFi is the hardest to comply with. Complete control of an application makes it harder for developers to react quickly if there is a problem, and they cannot make changes without researching the consensus of the community. This remains and is essentially difficult for applications that are still at a very early stage of development. One could thus argue that the certain teams of part of DeFi want to maintain some degree of control of their protocols. Russo sees that they are working to overcome this and are gradually releasing control of the protocols. Instead of decentralization, the important thing is that these applications are and remain accessibility to everyone. All users need an open internet connection and a blockchain address. This is why the term open finance is often used instead of DeFi. The majority stages of crypto-based finance. Altman, Welp, and Sander in 2021 stated that DeFi has achieved an important step towards becoming a sub-institute for the already known traditional financial solution. In the past, crypto-based finance solutions were mainly able to realize efficient value transfers. At present, the value of money is also reflected in crypto finance. They stated that there are 3 stages of a decentralized financial system. First of all, the efficiency of value transfer. Second, the connecting savers and borrowers. And last but not least, combating the traditional financial threats. These 3 are explained more in detail. Stage 1, efficiency value transfers. Until now, decentralized exchanges and wallet providers have been the only successful blockchain business models at scale. The reason for the success of the centralized exchanges is that they are the main entry point to the crypto space. You can see it in figure 1. The common user needs to swap fiat money, for example, you use dollar, against a cryptocurrency before being able to interact with services in decentralized finance. With this, they seem to assume that you must first have fiat and then they have converted it into a crypto. This stage 2, connecting savers and borrowers. Eijkman, Welpe, and Sander stated that they're still missing what the ability to deal with flows of funds from savers to borrowers and vice versa. In the following years, additional elements of a more advanced financial system were developed. The function of a payment system could be advanced with the development of stablecoins, decentralized finance, and borrowing lending protocols. Thereby, DeFi develops the necessary platforms for facilitating the flows between savers and borrowers. It might be no coincidence that the start of the explosion grow for the whole DeFi. And then we have stage 3, competing for the traditional funds. Eijkman, Welpe, and Sander states that DeFi can be described as a platform for the competing with the traditional finance firms for the same resources. However, DeFi is an encapsulated system. It is not obeying the same rules as the traditional finance. In particular, national law does not apply and regulatory policies can hardly be enforced in the DeFi space. This might be a major competitive advantage over the highly regulated traditional financial firms. Some DeFi features, I can mention 3 of them. DeFi has unique features compared to centralized finance and assumes that more efficient and effective services can be delivered. Some of the features are, first of all, transactions are conducted on a peer-to-peer basis without the need of an intermediary. Second, no KYC required, so anyone can easily open an account on a DeFi platform at any time without having to disclose KYC elements. And 3, no one sees the user digital asset and the user remains in full control of their own digital assets. DeFi platforms are not custodian, meaning that no one holds the user key. Then we go to the loan and saving markets. The DeFi lending and saving markets allow people to borrow money and make money available or lock money onto a platform. Popular lendings and saving system platforms include Compound, Avi, MakerDAO, Dharma, etc. The following table provides an overview of the various platforms and explains how they work. We will share the sheets so you can read the table in detail if you want to. Decentralized exchanges are similar to stock exchanges, but now run by smart contracts on an Ethereum blockchain. Assets can be traded on both exchanges Only decentralized exchanges trade in cryptocurrencies and have no central authority. Some of the popular exchanges are Uniswap, SushiSwap, Bancor, Kyber, Binance, etc., etc. Some of the exchanges are explained more in detail in the overview below, as you see in the sheet. Then something about a liquidity pool. Liquidity pool is in fact a smart contract that contains funds. In exchange for providing liquidity to the pool, LPs receive a reward. That reward can come from fees generated by the underlying DeFi platform or another source. The first depositor to the pool or liquidity provider sets the international price of assets in the pool. Liquidity providers are incentivized to supply an equal value of both tokens to the pool. They receive special tokens called LP token in proportion to the contribution to the pool. Some popular yield farming platforms are SushiSwap, Yearn Finance, and Gem Finance, which are further described briefly in the table below, as you see in the sheet. Then something about blockchain and crypto-based finance in 2021. Lytton states that in 2021, in the year enterprises, permission blockchain begins a long climb out of through this disillusionment. It's about the Gartner hype cycle in 2020. The climb will be slower than the recent stellar rise in Bitcoin's price, but it will move forward, certainly and steadily. In the annual Gartner survey of blockchain service providers, related that 14% of the enterprise blockchain projects moved into production in 2020, up from 5% in 2019. Gartner expects production use cases to keep growing the double-digit percentage in 2021, as three key trends push the permission blockchain market up to the Gartner hype cycle slope of enlightenment. Lytton therefore recognized three trends which are shown in the following figure. Trend one is the meritation of the cryptocurrencies and central bank digital currencies. Trend two is the truth of supply chain driven in a part of environmental, social, and governance goals. And trend three is about the blockchain middleware abstraction lies. Some conclusions about this keynote. There are six. I will explain them. First of all, the highlights are blockchain technology can reduce transaction costs, produce distributed trust, and empower new business models. Two, in the financial industry, blockchain technology allows for the rise in decentralized finance services and business models. And three, decentralized finance make the financial system more decentralized, innovative, interoperable, borderless, and transparent. And four, although promising, decentralized finance has overcome a number of challenges and limits to achieve in its full potential. The second conclusion is each finance system is locked within its own geographical borders, and even then only some can access it. It's also a system built on the top of Asian technology. All the money transmitting protocols are messaging system in the 70s. And the way it's doing so, it's replacing those outdated rails within the public blockchains, which are global, distributed, and decentralized networks specifically made to transfer value without the needs of intermediaries. Conclusion 3, DeFi has achieved an important step towards becoming a sub-institute for the already known traditional financial solution. In the past, crypto-based financing solutions were mainly able to realize efficient value transfer. At present, the value of the money is also reflecting in crypto finance. Conclusion 4, DeFi has a unique future compared to centralized funding or decentralized finance, and assumes that more efficient and effective service can be delivered. Conclusion 5, major development cycles will still follow. It is not unrealistic to say that the decentralized finance will be more efficient, user-friendly, and secure than the traditional finance. And the last conclusion, 6, is currently major investments are being made for the further developed blockchain technology, and we are also seeing more and more working application. Major developments cyclings will still follow. This was my key presentation. In the sheets, you can find more information about the research group blockchain. Some of those slides you can read later on. This is the research group with all my colleagues who are also presenting this day. And the participation we have worldwide, but you can read it afterwards if you find it nice. And these are some books we're writing with some of my colleagues. I will thank you for your attention and will give it back to Noc for. Yep.
Thank you very much, Professor Jan Vogel, for your speech. And we will send you the information after the conference. And of course, if you want to contact to any of our moderator or our researcher, our speaker, you're welcome to contact them to exchange your experience and information. Our conference today and tomorrow consists of 3 breakout sections. The first section is blockchain technology. The second is crypto assets. And the third one is sustainable development in the context of digitalization. Professor Jan Vogel is the moderator of section 1. Dr. Inna Lukashenko from the Financial University is moderator of section 2. And Dr. Van der Tang from the Banking Academy of Vietnam is moderator for section number 3. Dr. Van der Tang is the Dean of Faculty of Management Information Systems from the Banking Academy of Vietnam. He has over 20 years of experience in teaching and researching in the field of information technology. Dr. Van der Tang is the leader of many projects in developing information systems in business, banking, and higher education sector. Dr. Tang is also the member of the International Data Management Association, and he is also the interim chairman of the Vietnam Dharma Community, the chairman of the Vietnamese Data Management Association. He is the member of many international cooperation programs such as Asian Leadership Scholars Program, German Academic Exchange Program, and his interests focus on business process management, big data, enterprise architecture, and data management. That is all about our plenary section today, and very soon we will have 10 minutes break. Before having break, I would like to tell you about our conference regulation during the...
Oh, sorry, I apologize, Professor Ngogo, but we forget about our intention to take a common photo of all of us.
Yes. The photo will be taken before having break.
Okay.
Thank you for your reminding. And I would like to remind all participants about our regulation. I kindly request you to turn off the microphone during the presentation. And you're welcome to post questions during the presentation by writing your question in the chat box. And at the end of each presentation, there will be 10 minutes for questions and answer. We will try to answer all the questions depending on the time available. Answer will be either oral or in written form in the chat box. And at the end of the day of the conference, we will share a feedback link in the chat feature. It will be highly appreciated if you can fill out the questionnaire, because your feedback or your suggestion will help us to improve our quality of our conference for next time. It will receive, after filling out the feedback form, it will receive the certificate for participants. That's all I would like to request you during our conference and before all the activity during our conference. And before having a short break, I would like to invite you, all of you, to join us with our group photo shoot. Please turn on your camera feature so that we can see you in our group photos. I will tell from 1 to 5, and our colleagues, technical colleagues, will help us to take the photo. Okay, now, are you ready? Okay, I see all the, yeah, you, okay, thank you.
Dear colleague, please turn on your video, please, all of you. It will be so interesting for all of us participating in this conference.
You are ready? I still see some of you without photo. Please turn on your video feature. Are we now ready for the photo?
Not yet, because we are waiting for all turning on the
oh, yes,
video.
I see Mr. Barabano.
Please, Anton Grigoriev, Gok Dao, Lehondien. Please turn on your video.
Yeah, it's ready. I don't see, maybe we just do it.
We try, but without a complete picture of our participant. Unfortunately, some of them don't want to open
oh,
their
yes,
video.
I see now, yes, takes time. Okay, I think that the important, our 3 keynote speakers and our...
1 minute more. Sorry. Oh, so nice. Second page is almost full of our nice faces with smiles. Just a minute. Wait for a while, dear colleagues. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yes.
Can we start? Okay, our technical colleagues, could you please help us to take the photo? I will tell from 1 to 5. And big smile, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you very much. And we have 10 minutes break. After the break, please enter the link to the session that you want to attend. I put the link to each section.